And I think when I'm playing the ands, I kind of have a leg bounce going on there too, where maybe I'm not bouncing exactly all the eighths, but there's kind of a rhythm to it and a motion to it. And I found that the more I can get into a motion, like a natural motion that I don't think about with my whole left leg here, the more easily these just fall into place and I don't have to think about them. And so maybe that seems like an extra step or an extra thing to think about right now. And don't get hung up on that, because it's something that's also going to happen over time. I didn't sit down at a point in my learning and say, all right, I'm going to practice a leg bounce with this timekeeping method while I'm playing the ands. It kind of just happened. And that's why I encourage you to practice the eighths before the ands. And even if it means spending a lot of time on the eighths, like longer than the duration of this course, and then coming back later and doing the ands, which is fine, by the way. You don't have to master all this stuff during the duration of this course. I just want to get you started, because this is stuff you can practice for years and even decades, and I'm still working on this. So get the eighth comfortable and learn that leg bounce, practice that motion, because it might naturally develop into a timekeeping method if you're playing quarters or ands on the hi-hat. Like quarters would be the same way as the ands. And my leg's doing that same kind of bounce thing there, just like if I were playing the ands. So don't get hung up too much on the motion thing. I'm just presenting that to you so that you're aware of that and you're understanding what it is I'm doing and what I feel like makes the muscle memory aspect of this easier. And so practice doing that, but mainly just focus on getting the sounds, getting them slowly, tying it together coordination-wise. And the more you develop that leg motion, the more it'll go on autopilot and the more things will naturally glue together. And I think that the leg bounce, because that can be such an autopilot thing for me, I think that can potentially help timekeeping, because you've got something over here that's just keeping time while you're playing over here. But the coordination does have to happen first. You've got to be coordinated enough that the leg bounce can happen without thinking about it. But you'll get there as you practice these things, as you take them slowly, take them patiently. I wish I could remember and could tell you exactly like how long it took me to go from no left foot timekeeping to left foot timekeeping. But I remember it was something I worked on a lot early in college, and maybe there was like a year span of time where I went from never doing this to then just doing that without thinking about it. I think it was probably about a year. And I mean, even since then, I've gotten better at it and I've worked on other aspects of it. And so it definitely didn't get perfect in a year, and it's still not perfect. But it's one of those things that you have to be patient with, be okay with it taking a while. Understand that throughout this course, I'm presenting things to you and showing you how to practice things, how to do the techniques, but I don't expect you to just magically have it down. And there aren't necessarily shortcuts to having it down. The best shortcut is knowing how to do it, which is what I'm showing you. But you still got to take it and practice it and spend some time on it and just be okay with it taking some time to really master. But practice all three of those grooves. That's the action step for the lesson. And try to get them up to that 90 BPM goal. I've included some fairly ambitious tempo goals throughout a lot of these examples throughout the course, but that's because I want to make sure everybody's challenged. Maybe you've already got this down somewhat, and maybe you've already been doing a sort of leg bounce thing, and you've got the coordination and the timekeeping aspect of all of this. And so then maybe the challenge is just playing it really cleanly and being able to play it faster and being able to play something more syncopated over here while doing it. And so that's where you can take this and run with it and create your own grooves and exercises. Some of that will be things that we'll work on later in the course, where there might be some weirder combinations going on that'll definitely challenge you. But I want to make sure that you are challenged to whatever level you're at. And so if you feel like you've already got this down, don't just sit back and go, oh, I don't need to practice that. I'm just going to wait till the next lesson. No, practice it. Work on making it better and better, and maybe up the tempo, change the kick pattern. Maybe that's your next step. Practice something like that and challenge yourself. You've got to challenge yourself. You've got to take the initiative to push yourself throughout this course if you really want to get a lot out of it. Of course, if you want to really challenge yourself, also practice doing splashes instead of chicks. Maybe you're super confident with the chicks and maybe the splashes aren't so easy. So that can be a really challenging thing too, especially playing faster. Get creative with it. Practice these with splashes instead of chicks, and then practice changing up the groove pattern.